The night he carried his boss's weight up the narrow apartment stairs was the night his carefully stitched life began to tear apart. Because by morning, a single question would echo through every room he loved and every promise he had made to his child. A question heavy enough to crush a man who had nothing left to lose but his dignity. If stories of kindness and second chances matter to you, take a second right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Brightly Kindness, because what comes next is about how fragile good intentions can be and how powerful they can be when tested. He was a single father who measured time in lunchboxes packed before dawn and bedtime stories whispered after exhaustion won. His days were shaped by quiet sacrifices, by overtime hours taken without complaint, by the unspoken rule that his little girl's safety came before his pride. The promotion he never got didn't sting as much as the stability he managed to hold onto, a fragile peace built from routine and restraint. When his boss called late that night, her voice unsteady and her words tangled, he hesitated only long enough to think about his daughter asleep at home and the cost of saying no to someone who controlled his paycheck. He found her slumped by the office door, a respected executive undone by a celebration gone wrong, and he did what he had always done. He chose responsibility over convenience. He drove carefully, spoke gently, kept the car radio low, and focused on getting her home safely, believing that decency, once given, would simply be absorbed by the world without consequence. The apartment was quiet, lit by a single lamp that cast long shadows over a life that was not his. He guided her to the couch, fetched water, placed a blanket over her shoulders, and stepped back, careful not to blur the lines that kept him safe. He left before dawn, returned to his own small home, and slipped into bed beside the soft breathing of his child, believing the night would dissolve with sleep. But the morning arrived like a verdict. A message summoned him into a room colder than any winter morning, where eyes avoided his and the air buzzed with rumor. The question landed without mercy, stripping context and intention into something unrecognizable, and suddenly his kindness had become a weapon turned against him. The days that followed were a blur of formal smiles and closed doors. He was suspended, then dismissed, not with anger but with the careful language of liability and distance. Friends from work stopped calling. The savings he had scraped together thinned into nothing as bills arrived with cruel punctuality. At home, he learned how loud silence could be, how a child's innocent questions could split a man open. He woke before dawn to scan job boards and fell asleep with rejection emails glowing on his phone. Shame crept into places he didn't know existed, whispering that being good had been foolish, that he should have left her there, that kindness was a luxury men like him couldn't afford. Yet something stubborn refused to break. He kept showing up for his daughter, kept braiding hair with clumsy fingers, kept reading stories with voices he didn't feel anymore. He volunteered at school events when he could, took short-term work that bruised his pride, and held onto the belief that truth had a gravity of its own. When panic threatened to swallow him, he remembered the night as it was, simple, careful, clean. He wrote everything down, not as defense, but as a record of himself, a reminder that his character did not belong to rumors. Time, slow and unglamorous, began to do its work. An investigation unfolded not with fireworks but with paperwork, timestamps, camera logs, and quiet confirmations. A neighbor's security footage showed him leaving early. Ride data matched his account. A colleague admitted to assumptions made too quickly, to stories that grew teeth without facts. The truth did not arrive with an apology loud enough to repair what had been broken, but it arrived all the same, carrying with it a small, fragile relief. The company offered a settlement without warmth, a letter without soul. It wasn't justice as he imagined it, but it was enough to breathe again. The real change came not from cleared records but from choices. He turned down the chance to return to the same halls that had swallowed him and instead took a job that paid less but let him be present. He joined a support group where men learned to name fear without shame. He taught his daughter that kindness does not guarantee safety, but it does shape who you are when safety disappears. Slowly, The world softened around the edges. New friendships formed without conditions. Trust, once shattered, rebuilt itself plank by plank, not because he demanded it, but because he lived it. Near the end of this road, when the noise had faded and the nights felt quieter, he stood in the kitchen watching his daughter laugh over a homework mistake, and he understood something simple and hard-earned. Kindness is not a shield. It is a compass. It doesn't protect you from storms, but it tells you where you are when the sky clears. If this story is touching something real in you, please engage with the video, like it, share it, and let others find it. Because stories like this only matter if they reach the people who need them. Before the final moment, here's a special request. Please comment below with one word that describes what kindness means to you, because your words might steady someone else who is standing where he once stood. In the end, his life did not return to what it was, and that was the quiet miracle. It became smaller in some ways and truer in others, shaped by lessons earned the hard way and love that never wavered. He learned that doing the right thing can cost everything, and that rebuilding after loss can reveal a strength you didn't know you had. If this story moved your heart, let it be a reminder that even when kindness is questioned and intentions are twisted, choosing to be decent is never wasted. It just takes time to come back around.